You know, it is an unforgivable historical mistake for the Europeans to declare that Africans had no civilization until they came. Any African professor of history who supports this assertion that Africans were not civilized until the white man came is nothing else but a disgrace and a shame to the people of Africa. Even the first Europeans to enter Africa acknowledged Africans around 450 BCE as the first civilized people in the world. The Europeans showed the world through their Western media like BBC and CNN that Africans are backward people. Meanwhile, Africans in West Africa over 500 BCE to 200 AD were the first to start the Nok civilization, where Africans in West Africa made huge sculptures from terracotta, sculptures that these Caucasians took to Europe for commercial gains. They invaded Benin. They invaded the innocent people of Benin, stole the artifact of the people of Benin, and called them barbarians. They called them uncivilized. But the civilization of the people in Benin are in the British Museum in Britain. Africans have already started the smelting of steel in Tanzania around 1500 BCE. In the science of medicine, Africans have already started the science of gynecology, which is the medical science in women's health. Africans had cure for diarrhea and constipation, mostly seen in the Ebers Papyrus, written by Africans around 1550 BCE. This medical paper also contains the processes through which Africans control birth rates. In fact, Africans were into the science of Planned Parenthood 10,000 years before there was a place called Roman Empire or Roman Republic. There was a serious discovery showing Africans carrying out a systematic process of surgery, which is recorded in the Edwin Smith Papyrus, written by Africans around 1600 BCE. The first people in the world to carry out a cesarean section, that is CS, were the people of Uganda. Before then, the Europeans have not even tasted civilization. Africans have recorded breakthrough in mathematics with evidence of having the largest numbers of ancient mathematical papyri, which top European universities use in their schools today. We had breakthrough in engineering and architecture starting from 2780 BCE. Where Africans built the first pyramid in the world, that is the first skyscraper in the world, in Kemet to be precise. We built the Benin Wall, which was stronger than the Chinese Wall. And yet Nigerian movie actors and producers will still act movies that shows Nigerians as primitive people. It is an unforgivable historical mistake for the Europeans to say that Africans had no well-established political structures before they came in the mid-15th century. Lord Lugard left India. The British colonial imperialist Lord Lugard, he left India. He came to Nigeria to establish the British indirect rule colonial policy in the year 1906 with the hope that it will be a success as it was in India. Did you know that when this British imperialist came to Nigeria, he established the indirect rule colonial policy in the northern Hausa Fulani Emirates, which became so successful since the people were submissive to their Islamic rulers. But this colonial policy became a partial success in the western Nigeria, which is dominated by the Yorubas. The fact is that the Yorubas are very educated people and were in a position to question the evils, the ethics and ethos, the morals of colonialism. Unfortunately, when Lord Lugard introduced it to the Easterners, the Igbos and the Ijaws of the Niger Delta, it became a total failure. The fact is that in the year 1929, a group of women within the Eastern Nigeria violently revolted against the evils of British colonial policy. It was a protest ignited by Chief Okugo of Oloko, one of the warrant chiefs appointed by Frederick Lord Lugard. These chiefs were outcasts who were forced on the Igbo people. They were tyrants, they were autocrats, they were so brutal, and they ruled the Igbo people with brutality. They became nightmare to the people with their excessive taxing of villagers. The fact is that the last stroke that broke the camel's back was when one of the chiefs started taxing women. The protest, which killed many women and British colonial police staffs, facilitated the end of the indirect rule policy in Nigeria. The indirect rule colonial policy can only be successful where there are well-established traditional political authorities. The Igbos had a system known as village democracy. The Hausa Fulani people had an emirate system headed by an emir, while the Yorubas had a decentralized political setting where political power is shared among different bodies like the Oyomesi, the Ogboni Court, and the Alaafin. The Yorubas were not much submissive as the Hausa Fulanis in the north, which was why the colonial policy achieved little success in the western Nigeria. This is your history, black people in the world, and you must know it today.